Hello.
Hello.
Right.
I can hear you.
You can hear me. I don't know how clear I am this week. I'm trying a different microphone approach, so hopefully I won't crack up after an hour.
Yeah, it's not quite as sharp as the other one, but it's coming through okay.
Okay, let me see if I can hang it slightly better. You're very loud.
Well, I've not started recording yet, so I'll check my levels. We're live on the stream because I had to do a lot of work to get this working. Yeah, the levels are fine at mine. I'm using Wirecast to stream up to YouTube because you can't do Hangouts. It just doesn't work. It looks like it's a fairly common fault because they're getting rid of Hangouts effectively. So they're doing other and they kind of broke the authentications for some people. So it seems like that's so. But anyway, this Wireshark is a proper Windows program that then it loads, live streams it, and it just goes directly to your YouTube channel as well. So you don't have to kind of create stuff beforehand. It just and the embed code is the same each time as well, which makes this a bit easier. Right. So let's try Jason. We can talk about your fireside chat.
We can. I still haven't worked out which one of I am, welcome or wise.
No, I haven't.
They were fun though.
Yeah. Send a link. We can talk about that. Right. See. Link out. So all we need now is Jason. He must be still watching The Flash.
He must be, yeah. Bad nights to record on these days.
So I can't watch The Flash anymore because I've got rid of it. Yeah, Sky have taken Series 2 off.
All right.
So I can't. So we're half a series behind now. So we can't watch Series 3 because we've not watched half of Season 2.
Yeah. Go to CW site on in the States. You can probably watch them.
Yeah, it's and none of these Netflix, the things where you can change your DNS settings and things. None of them work for Netflix anymore. I was surprised when I went to Amsterdam. The choice for Netflix is totally different to what we get in the UK.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, especially the States. It's really different.
Yeah.
My account still works out there, so that's really cool.
Yeah, it's pretty good. That I used to be able to put a different DNS setting in your laptop, and then you can change it over, but that doesn't work anymore. And I think that wasn't Netflix really. That wasn't their fault. It was the content companies, wasn't it? Other people like Sky.
Yeah. The licensing of media is suitable for the 18th century, yet alone the 21st century.
Yeah, definitely.
What we done was young Jason tonight.
Well, let's try him again.
I completely forgot to post that package last Thursday, so I'll try and get it posted tomorrow.
Oh, right, yeah.
You're a little bit of swag from the MVVP summit.
Brilliant. I can't beat that.
Yeah, it's good swag as well, actually.
Right. Okay, well, we'll keep trying, Jason, so I'll do the intros. Gary, good evening.
Good evening, it's good to be back.
Yeah, it is. I think you were here last week, weren't you?
I was here last week, but in between I've been to Glasgow. So.
That's true. Yeah. And we'll try and get Jason as we're going. We think he's still watching The Flash. There must have been a cliffhanger, and he's.
Yeah, can't leave him.
He can't leave.
Either that or he's charging his iPhone.
It could be that, yeah. It could be that he's run out of charge on his iPhone. Yeah. And we're back on the live stream again. I seem to have got another way. I don't know what's this, our 5th or 6th attempt at doing these different ways, but we are back on the live stream on YouTube, on the dislifestyle.com, and on our YouTube channel as well. So good evening to everybody in the chat room. So it's been a fairly quiet news, but there's still a few things I wanted to talk about. Now I know you had a trip away, so we'll talk about that as well. We've got quite a few reviews, and good evening to Richard if he's in the chat room. If he's not, he'll be hearing it on the podcast. But he's a review monster.
Yeah, he was churning them out over the weekend. So I actually got to meet Richard in person this weekend, which was great. Not really nice to talk to, and definitely on the same wavelength. So we had not only has he done these reviews, there's a whole series of fireside chats coming up shortly from all around the events in which Asa took us to in Glasgow.
Yes, well, I'll ask you about that.
Including Richard after 6 whiskies at the whiskey talk.
Yes, I'll be asking you about that as well. So we've got quite a few reviews to talk about. We've no builds to talk about this week.
No, they said we having a week off on builds, but it was Thanksgiving weekend, wasn't it? So last weekend, so I guess that's fair enough.
Yeah, and I can tell you about my Playmington D-Link plugs there. So let's give Jason another try. So while I'm trying to get Jason on then, so you were at an ASA event this weekend.
Yeah, so it's called ASA Live Blog Glasgow, isn't it? So ASA do this sort of every year or so, where they gather a group of bloggers, podcasters around a table and give us loads of tech to play with. So basically see all their new bits of kit. And this one I was at the Fascinating Tech, and Richard came along for a digital lifestyle, and between us we managed to grab virtually all the kit which was going and had some great fun with it.
Yes, so what was interesting was some of the devices, and Richard's already posted, 3 reviews. So Swift 3, the Switch Alpha 12, and there was another one as well. Top of my head, I forgot which one.
Does it run the spins?
Yeah, the Swift 7.
Oh yes, the Swift 3 and Swift 7.
Yeah, but so these seemed really nice devices, and like you mentioned, Richard's got a post coming up with some of the fireside chats. I couldn't decide who was Morecambe, who was Wise in the two in the hotel room. I wasn't expecting them quite. I wasn't expecting to do proper Morecambe and Wise in the double bed, but you know that would make an interesting blow.
I don't think we got that part right.
But got some good chats. So tell us about those.
Yeah, so the great thing was this weekend ASA basically gave us a free hand with the equipment, so that we were able to take it back to our rooms and play with it. And we had, I think we probably had the devices for 12 or 15 hours over the weekend. So one of the ones which isn't on the reviews there is the Swift 5, which I had. And that was a brilliant piece of kit. So you'll see more of that in the fireside chats. But I took that back to my room on Friday night at 8 o'clock and started playing video. And it was still playing, I left it playing video, and it was still playing with video at 8:30 in the morning. And the battery still had 20% left.
Wow.
That was pretty impressive, and it's a nice bit of kit as well. So one of the things, so just to give a bit of background, this event, we arrived on Friday in Glasgow. They sat us down, gave us a chance to tour around all the new models, and they have really simplified their model numbers now. So instead of all these complex, but ASA I think had one of the most complex model numbering out there, with all the different spires and things like that. And basically they're all little shifts in RAM or processor speed, and quite often the same body of the device. So now you've basically got three major ranges. I keep getting this wrong, but you've got the Swift range, which is the non-touch screen, but what we used to call Naughty, basically. The Spin range, which is their equivalent of Lenovo's Yoga Book, and I keep saying that because Lenovo are really the people who established that type of device on the market. So the tent fold over with a touch screen, and then you've got the Switch screen, which at the moment hasn't quite followed the new numbering. I think because it came out before the new numbering was invented, but I think it will do. And that's the Surface alike device, and very nice too. So within each of the ranges, other than the Switch range, you've got potential of, at the moment, 4 numbers. So you've got 1, 3, 5, and 7. They basically step up the quality and speed and the design. Although the 7s are actually sometimes a little bit less functional than the 5 ranges. The 5 seems to be the sweet spot in all the ranges.
Does that sound like we've got Jason joining?
Yes, I'm here. Hello.
Trouble getting you to join then.
Yeah, I've been using the thick client because I read somewhere that some people had linked this duplicate contact issue I've got to the UWP app.
Right. Right. Well, we were just Gary was just telling us about the ATA event, so we'll come back to you when we talk about some of jump in as we're going along. So carry on, Gary.
Yeah. So we've got this range, and so you've got the 1, 3, 5, and 7, and it seems to me that the 5 is the sweet spot. The Swift 5 was a lovely bit of kit, not as thin as the Swift 7, but it did come with Windows Hello. So you got the fingerprint reader and the camera with Windows Hello on it. And really nice keyboard, very nice. We didn't get a chance to play with the Spin 5, but the Spin 7 is really nice, but it hasn't got backlit keyboard, for example. The Swift 7 is the thinnest laptop you can buy currently, but it hasn't got backlit keyboard. And we thought initially, well, okay, fair enough, it's a very thin keyboard, but the Switch 12, which is a thinner keyboard, obviously it's a Surface-like keyboard, very Surface Pro 4-like keyboard, does have a backlight. So that was a bit of a conundrum. But there's, obviously Richard churned out the reviews. I've got some stuff to come as well, and the fireside chats we really do discuss in far more detail a lot of these devices. So well worth looking out for those. And Richard is very eloquent in how he describes stuff, and I think I contributed a little bit. Richard's particularly eloquent after we went for the whiskey tour on Saturday, which was so we went around a whiskey district, a really interesting tour, and actually gave us some equipment to play with there, and we were supposed to get creative and draw pictures, and it actually gave us a real good chance to test out the Switch 12, which was remarkably stable to draw on, even when we were sort of going on a joggedy bus and only having it on its kickstand, because it's got sort of like a rubber trim on it. It sits really firmly, probably more so than the Surface does. If anybody's out there looking for a replacement for a Surface 3, this is a really good bit of kit, but it's actually almost as powerful as Surface Pros. In fact, it's more powerful than some of them. This one's an Core i3 we were playing with, but it seemed incredibly responsive compared to Core i3 I'd actually worked with in the past. And the beauty of this is it's about the same price as the Surface Pro 4 base model was in the Black Friday sale. But whereas the Surface Pro 4 doesn't come with a keyboard or a mouse or a pen as standard, this comes with both of them as standard, which makes it remarkably good value for money.
Yeah, that's important, that, because of a device we'll talk about later has comes with that, and I think that's Microsoft, we know, are on the premium side of things now anyway, but that makes a big difference if you've got to then pay extra for these accessories.
And I have to say that device, I've played with quite a few of the Surface likes, and the screen on that one is absolutely gorgeous. It's really high resolution, and it works very, very well. The pen works really good position on it. Reminds me very much of the Surface Pro 3 pen. I know the apt's like with the Surface Pro 4, and I think they've got all sorts of patents on the Surface Pro 4 pen, so I'm not surprised it's not quite the same as that, but it certainly works extremely well. Really good pressure sensitivity, very precise. I somehow got a reputation for drawing things up in Scotland. But what I didn't know was that I was drawing mountains and lakes. That's the only thing I can draw. Yes, but that worked. But yeah, so a really nice bit of kit, and I think if I was actually in the market for a Surface-like device, I wouldn't be buying a Surface now or Surface Pro now. I'd probably be buying one of these clones, and the Acer one would be very high up there on my list.
That's interesting, that, because we'll talk about some of my devices I've been testing as well. But Jason, I know you've been put off. Put off is an understatement, but you've been put off with the Surface, with the battery problems that they've had with the Surface. But it's almost like, really, there's so much good. There's so many other devices out there now that it's really, you've got a lot of options now. You don't have to have a Surface.
Yes, yeah. I mean, there's certainly a lot of devices out there that are kind of borrowing the Surface type design, and with detachable, lightweight keyboards as opposed to kind of detachable full keyboards with batteries in them and everything. So, So what's the kind of price range on the Acer devices?
So I think the Switch, that one was, I believe, 599 list. Try and bring some figures up while I'm talking to you. But obviously they'll be discounted from that. Unlike the Surface devices, we don't tend to get discounted very much. The Acer products do tend to.
Richard's saying 599 for the Switch. Which one, Richard? The one that Gary's talking about, I guess. Yeah. So that was list, and I've seen some discounts on the Alpha already. Certainly the higher end Alphas, anyway. So that's the Core i3 version. So I mean, you can't get a Surface with the keyboard and the pen for that. Yeah, and I don't know, you can't even get the Surface 3 anyway now, can you? With the, I think, are they all i5 now, the Surfaces, or i7s? No, there is an i3. Yeah, you're right.
It was i3.
Yeah, but yeah, you can't. You certainly can't get that. Even with some of the deals that are on, you certainly can't get that.
So some really good things. So I mean, it's currently $579.99 on Amazon with today's deals with Prime. but that's there's loads of different varieties of it out there as well. So you can get all the way up to, I think, an i7 on it, which is sub £1,000 with the keyboard and the pen. I mean, there were a few things we didn't like about it. Like, we didn't like the pen loop on the keyboard. It'd be better if it was magnetically attached. A bit of a pain when you just carrying the tablet around with you, but a really good thing. But I won't go into full detail because Richard's doing an amazing set of reviews on this, and I think encourage people to watch them.
Yeah, definitely, and he's already got some really good reviews out there, so to check those out. But it is promising to see that the OEMs have really stepped up, which is I think really is what Microsoft wanted to do with the Surface, wasn't it? That there's now devices dropping below the price of the Surface that of quality devices.
I noticed Richard saying I'm echoing. It's probably because I'm on a different speaker system today.
And I think I fixed that, and I think part of it was to this new Wirecast setup seems to be echoing a bit, but it seems to be a bit better now.
I was down a big hole somewhere. I was probably down in that barrel room we went to in the whiskey distillery. Not the best place for me to go with a barley intolerance, but it's still fun.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. Yeah,
still a great deal of fun. Anyway, yeah. I think Richard made up for me on that.
Yeah, so
we're giving the impression Richard's an alcoholic, which is definitely not true. He coped very well with it. I see Richard also saying that it would make a brilliant Insider's Build tablet, that Switch 12 Alpha, and I totally agree. It's a really good thing. I was very tempted to pick one up.
Yeah, I watched Richard's video, and it does look a nice device, and I think I like that Surface Pro form factor, and even the thing with the magnetic pen. I like the magnetic pen on the Surface Pro 4, but I don't trust it enough. So I've got a leather case from a slip case for the Surface that I use, and I slot the pen in there because I know I'd lose the pen on the magnetic carrying it around. So although it's a good idea, I don't think it's quite strong enough for it to stay on without falling off.
Yes, I can see what you're saying. I have to say that we did accidentally discover that the pen will clip quite nicely where the keyboard attaches. I'm not sure what electrical shorting that's causing, but that was strongly attached. It's a pretty impressive magnet on there, although it did fail my hold it up in the middle of the air and float it out and try and keep it tight in the air. But nobody does that other than me, so I don't think it's a problem.
Yeah, I think it's just good that OEM's stepping up, and I noticed even the non-Surface type, the traditional, like you mentioned earlier, but the traditional Ultrabook or the MacBook or clone almost, they're good quality and not particularly expensive now.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's certainly all the Swift range had something going for them. The Swift 3, which is the base model, would have been your probably £1,800 or £2,000 Ultrabook a few years ago.
I noticed that Swift 7's got a giant trackpad on it.
Yeah, so the giant trackpad was a bone of contention. Even myself and Richard could really see the point of it initially, but I found out later on that you can get some really interesting multi-touch gestures, and you can sort of pre-program some of those. So I guess that if you're doing 4-finger tapping, it's good to have a bit more space to do it on. And it's quite positioned touchpad as well, so. I don't know. I mean, I think I take Richard's point. There's probably better uses for that area of a laptop if you are going to expand that area. It'd be nice to have actually have a touch screen down there, a bit like the touch bar and the MacBooks. Patented, patented digital lifestyle. But we actually what surprised me actually at the weekend was that I think my favourite device was actually one without touchscreen. Because I really did like the Swift 5. I thought it was a brilliant device. It had other than the touchscreen, had virtually everything going, which I'd want for a good development machine. And I would say far better than the MacBook Pro. And well below the price when you start comparing spec for spec, because that's a really sweet spot. Again, about the 599 mark. I'm sure Richard will fly her up in text in a minute because he's got all the specs to hand. But yeah, the Swift 5 was definitely my sweet spot device. It really had everything to go for it, and having the Windows Hello stuff built into it was really good.
Yeah, the Windows Hello is good. I do like having that on there, but I've had a few people asking me about non-touch screens and asking for matte screens as well, whether that's a thing that will come back. I did have an Asus unit for review a couple of weeks ago that had a matte screen, but there's a few people ask me about that now because it seems to be most devices come with a very glossy screen.
Yeah, I have to say the Swift 5 is quite a glossy screen. The Swift 3 isn't. That's got a dull screen, which neither of us particularly liked, but it was okay, certainly okay for the money. I mean, certainly I've had a lot of people ask me about. A lot of people don't like the haze you get on a touch screen. And I can see that to some extent, and so certain people just don't see the benefit of a touchscreen. I always will, but having said that, I really think this Swift 5 would make a very good development machine.
So, Jason, have you sort of locked down what you want to get now as your next device, or you're not quite in that state yet? You don't need to get one.
No, I mean, unfortunately, despite the few issues I've had with the Surface Pro 3, it's still perfectly adequate for what I need and what I use it for. So at the moment I'm just going to stick with that and probably kind of run it into the ground and then maybe kind of hand it down to the kids or my wife at some point. But yeah, it's for now it's really adequate. I've got no need to change it. Another batch is working as expected.
Yeah. So I think the other thing to just say on the Swift 5, and Richard's put it out and reminded me in the chat room, it had an amazing sound system on it. You just don't expect laptops to have decent sound speakers, and this was just mind-blowingly good. I had a Dolby system in there, and the 3D sound was like something you'd have got out of an external speaker set a few years back. So none of the others were that good, but that one just had that. But the other thing I'll just say on Jason's point there, the Switch 12 is effectively last year's model. So what they're going to bring out in the refresh at the start of the coming year, I'll be interested to see.
Yeah, well, you can see some of Richard's videos already up on the site, and I'm looking forward to his to your fireside videos as well. they're going to be fun to watch. So I'll make sure I include links for all those when they're live.
That'll be good stuff.
Yeah. Now I reviewed an interesting device this week. Now, how does this sound? A 10.1 inch screen, pen, keyboard, magnetically attached with it clips up. It sounds a lot like a Surface, but it isn't. It's it's a new model actually, the Asus Transformer Mini. Yeah. Very nice little device. Probably a bit small for most people to use as a desktop replacement, but I wonder how close it is to the original Surface Mini. Do we know what size screen the Surface Mini was originally rumored to be?
Well, I had rumours. Everything. Most of them are centred around an 8-inch screen.
Right.
So, but I mean, obviously, there are no confirmed facts on that.
So this was a 10.1-inch screen, but it looks like a Surface Pro 4 that's been shrunk in the wash. It's,
Yeah, or Acer Switch 10.
yeah,
Switch 12.
but the way that the keyboard attaches is exactly the same. It's got the magnetic attachment, and then it clips up to lock it in. It's got a kickstand. It's got a pen. The only difference is really that this is it's an Atom processor in there, and the 10-inch screen means the keyboard's a bit squished down. So I found the keys were a little bit small. So it wasn't an ideal sort of. Certainly, it's not a development machine, or maybe you wouldn't do a huge amount of writing on it. But as a tablet, it's actually a really nice device, and it really does remind me of a Surface, just a little bit shrunk down. But seems to be getting these devices with the Atom X5 processor, and again 11 hours battery, like the Lenovo Yoga Book, and these are really nice quality devices that are coming out in this smaller form factor. I mean, it's about the same thickness as a Surface Pro, so it feels quite chunky, I would say, because of the smaller size. But it has got a USB 3 port on it, which the Yoga Book doesn't have. And of course, you've got the keyboard, and it's got Windows Hello using fingerprint reader, which I think is relatively new, isn't it, for Windows? I think the anniversary update was the first to support that. And it makes a nice little device. I've got a video, and it's all on the digitalifestyle.com. You can have a look at that. But it's got a pen, kickstand, a type cover with sort of a nice cloth finish to it. So it feels quite a premium device. It's kind of a aluminium feel, but definitely a nice device. I wouldn't really want to use it to write a huge amount on, but it would be certainly a good device to carry around. The only thing is probably a little bit on the thick side, but yeah, nice to see. And again, somebody else filling that sort of range in the market that Microsoft could attack, but they choose to go a bit higher.
Yeah, I think it's really good replacement for that Surface 3.
Yeah, it probably is actually. If you want a small device, Jason, a bit too small for you, I guess that.
Yes, yeah. I do wonder if this has been the motivation for Microsoft dropping the Surface 3. I mean, I know we could still see a Surface 4 maybe revealed, but it does seem like that kind of line has come to an end, and Surface Pro 5 will probably become potentially even more of a high-end kind of aspirational device, probably to separate it out from these kind of more mid-range in terms of price more than quality, but those kind of mid-range devices like these.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're right. I think the Surface pricing is going up, isn't it? Because the OEMs are filling the gap really nicely, and this is this and the Yoga Book remind me really of the market that the Surface 2 would fit in. On the original Surface,
Yeah.
But of course they're not running RT; they're running full Windows, and I find that X5 processor is amazing on battery life. 11. I mean, I've seen the Yoga Book come up with 16 hours on remaining, and that's just normal use.
Yeah.
But, go ahead.
I was just say it will be interesting actually to see how low the price point can get, and maybe still maintain a certain level of quality. I appreciate that there has to be some compromise as the price comes down. I mean, my kids would quite like what they call a Surface Pro 4 type device, but obviously those are far too expensive for a child. But I would be interested in having a Surface-like device that was within a kind of reasonable price range for a child device.
I know Lynx are bringing one out, aren't they?
Yes, yeah.
And this, I mean, while these are Atom processors, they're not netbook pricing, So I think the spec or the list price for the Transformer Mini is £500, but I did see it on offer on Amazon for £350, which I think which is a good price. I think that was for the 64 gig version. The one I reviewed was 128, but even so, I think that's a decent price.
Yes, yeah.
I think there's kind of an expectation of pricing with that style of device as well, which the market. I don't blame the manufacturers for pushing the price up a little bit because people expect it to be slightly more than a traditional laptop. So they may, as I say, make hay while the sun shines. But at some point, those prices will start pushing down because everybody will be making markets devices with that style.
Yeah. In some ways, I kind of find it a bit odd that my kids are interested in having a Windows tablet type device because, they've pretty much been raised on iOS ever since they're old enough to have their own devices. And so, there's the whole kind of app issue. They wouldn't be able to use it. I mean, not that there aren't games, but it's not going to be your first platform of choice for games. So,
yeah, you're right though. One of my sons got I think what was the Lynx 1010, wasn't it? That he's got, and my other son now wants a small Windows tablet, and he's got he's got HP laptop. So I said, well, why do you want another Windows device? And he just wants it to watch YouTube on. That's really it. Essentially, it's all he wants to use it for. A bit of browsing, and it goes on IMDb and that kind of thing, but mainly it's YouTube. And for that, he'll the Lynx 7 or Lynx 8 or whatever will do the job quite nicely. So I think he's probably going to end up with a Windows tablet, and he's not playing all the games. If he plays games on his Xbox, but he watches YouTube videos and Netflix. So the Windows tablet's quite good for that. So it's surprising, really. Like you said, I thought he might go for ask for an iPad or something, but no, he wants a Windows tablet. But there's a lot of good choice out there. That's the main thing, I think, that you see from all these reviews. I think we've got sort of 5 or 6 laptop reviews in 2 weeks, and they're all really good. I haven't had one for some time now that I haven't enjoyed using.
Yeah, that does seem to be the coming thing. There's very few poor laptops out there, although we did potentially see one at the ASO event. To be fair, it was a very early prototype. But the Spin 3, which was I think, did we decide it was a 17-inch screen? It was just a bit too large and a bit too heavy to be practically usable as a tablet. I think there's a point where you need to move to a desktop. Yeah, Spin 3. That's what it was. Yeah, Spin 3. That was a mammoth device, but I say a very early prototype to give face their due. And it was another sign of their openness that they were actually prepared to bring us some of those really early prototypes, which they may well have known would get torn apart, just so they could get some feedback on them.
I remember really, I say early, but like a HP laptop that I had that had a full width keyboard, with its separate number pad, and had a lovely wide screen display, but gosh, it didn't have weigh a lot.
Of course, it's not the biggest Acer tablet laptop, Acer laptop out there, because they have got that 21-inch curved screen Predator, which unfortunately didn't bring to the event, because I would like to see that.
Well, there was the Lenovo one that I saw a couple of years ago at the Gadget Show Live, which was a table, effectively. It wasn't quite the old Surface table, but it had a battery in, so it was technically a tablet.
Yeah, and that would have worked quite well you could imagine having that as a family laptop and playing board game type things on them. Just never really taken off. I mean, I think that's the market the Surface Studio is going into in a slightly different way.
I wonder if we'll see OEMs copying that, because I guess it'll be quite. It wouldn't surprise me before even the Surface Studio hits the UK for release. We'll start to see OEMs coming out with that kind of device, but a bit cheaper.
You've got to think that Lenovo are pretty close to that with stuff they've already had. So I think they could produce something out.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I mean, the other device that I talked about, the Yoga Book, I'm still using that all the time as a tablet, and it's a really nice device. My only criticism of it, and it's funny how these things come around, is it has waking up from sleep issues, and the occasional Wi-Fi issue as well. So it does give you that nice warm Surface feeling.
Yeah.
I managed to cure the hot bag syndrome, I think, by doing going through. I went through Windows Update, and then actually went into the device manager and right-clicked on some of the drivers, like the power and the Wi-Fi, and did check for updates, and that found updates that Windows Update didn't find. I guess there's some kind of priority ratios or something. I don't know why it would find it in Device Manager and not in Windows Update, but I did get new drivers on a lot of the items, but you have to manually check each one, so there's quite a lot to do. But it has been better at sleeping and waking up, but it still does suffer from that thing where you try and resume and it just doesn't do anything. You've got to hold the power button down for 10 seconds and it switches off and comes back on. But it stopped doing the hot bag syndrome. It's now just not waking up syndrome, but because it boots so quickly, it's not, and it's only a tablet, it doesn't really cause too many issues, but it's a little bit frustrating that it seems to be that these issues still plague Windows devices, well, for years now, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely, and driver issues are definitely the way. I mean, we saw on a few of the pre-release devices we had the weekend, we saw driver issues as well, particularly around the touchpads not working. But I think it's one of the problems is that Windows is such an all-encompassing operating system, and it allows manufacturers to produce loads and loads of different devices and have different drivers for them. It's actually really difficult to get that right. If you were in the Mac world and you actually were, knew what hardware you're always targeting, it's a lot easier to get that operating system correct.
Yeah, I guess so. And also they're trying to optimize these drivers as well, aren't they, for battery life and power and everything else. So they're probably on the limits of the technology. And I guess the more the time they spend fixing bugs and for device drivers like that, less time it gets released. Then these things have a fast turnaround now as well.
Yeah, indeed, and everybody's got to be keeping up with the game. So. I mean, most laptop models last 9 months on the market, which is quite a very short time.
Yeah,
just long enough for the next one to be born.
That's it. Yeah. So, so that's hardware news, but we've not got any insider builds this week, have we? Or last week, I should say, Jason.
No, I'm still fighting my disappearing screen. I've tried every graphics driver out there to try and stop it, so I'm not quite sure what's going on there.
Yeah, I think Donasaka has indicated that we're on kind of standby this week potentially, but yeah, I think with the Thanksgiving weekend, we were warned not to expect a build, but it does feel strange, doesn't it? It's been a while, I think, since we've recorded a show without a new build to talk about.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I found that the build, what was it, 971, has been pretty good actually. I've been using it on the Surface Pro 3 and no major issues.
Yeah, I must admit, I've not given it a try. I think I'm going to wait. I'm just waiting for that build that comes out. I go, you know what? I think this one might be the one that goes to my Surface Pro 3.
To be honest, if it wasn't for my screen issues, this is a very solid build. It's just the fact I have to RDP in every time I restart it.
Yeah, that's a bit of a pain. Yeah, and that's the age-old issue that we've talked about, isn't it? With Windows 10, once Windows thinks it's got a better driver than you were using previously, it always tries to use that one after an insider build installs, and you've then got to revert back. And I know with my my Encore 8, I have to change the drivers around for the sound of the network card. For my machine at work, I have to change the driver for the video card, and each time after the insider build comes in, it reverts them back to the ones that Windows thinks it should have, and it doesn't work. So that's a bit of a pain, but as far as the build goes, this has been pretty good, and especially it's nice if you're using it with on a tablet with an external monitor. That new virtual trackpad's really handy.
It is, yeah, definitely. I've seen that. I've got it on a couple of other devices as well, and on those ones the screen doesn't disappear, so it's just this one combination of drivers. Interestingly enough, though, I have actually rolled back the driver to the one for the previous release, which was working. And it still doesn't work. So
yeah, it's
just really weird because it's not your standard type of driver issue. Because if it was a standard type of driver issue, remoting in wouldn't reset it. It's just that's just so weird. But anyway, I'm waiting for the next build and hoping it fixes it. I have reported it, so we should see.
Now, I did see some screenshots and rumours of that the next build will have the new sharing UI.
Yes, that looks interesting.
Because until I read the post, I sort of kind of forgot about that because the sharing UI in Windows 10 is actually the Windows 8 one, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I think we're going to actually see a lot of tidying up of the UI generally over the next few releases. I think a lot of the leftovers from Windows 8 will start to disappear.
Yeah. Now I've actually got a new app coming if I ever get it through certification. So for checking for new builds, and sort of getting information together, I've got a new app that in the works called Fast Ring Spy. And what it does is it polls Microsoft, checks for the latest builds from the blogs, and then it displays you the latest build information and the current build video from TDL. So it also lists the previous 9 builds as well. So you can so as you open the app, it gets the latest build information from Microsoft and the latest TDL build video and puts them together. So so hopefully I get that through certification. I might be able to get that released fairly soon. It was an interesting challenge. It's my first UWP app. And I'm surprised how much has changed since doing Windows 8 Universal app.
A lot. An awful lot.
Yeah, it's amazing how much has changed on it, and I've had some challenges for that way to get things working, and a few frustrations along the way. And one thing that caught me out for some time actually was it would work in debug mode and not work in release mode. Now, as a professional developer, Gary, you've probably had this before, or you know why. I
can think of a few possibles. Yeah.
And it's so difficult to debug in release mode.
As the name would suggest.
yeah. So I was having it would pass the validation tool, but it didn't work as expected, and I found it very difficult to fix. Anyway, I found it eventually. I just one little thing I'd left it a variable as a generic rather than strictly typing it, and for some reason in debug it was fine, and in release it didn't. So anyway, fixed that and managed to get that published. But it was quite interesting going through some of the challenges and see what developers have to go through just since the Windows 8.1 days. And there is quite a lot more you've got to do now, I think, to test these things.
I think in a lot of ways they've overcomplicated it.
I think that was the kind of impression I got, and I also tried it with Visual Studio 2017 and had all sorts of problems trying to get it even to run in release mode. So back on 2015 for now. But anyway, so that app should be out. It's probably rejected by the time the podcast goes out, and I'll be back at square one. It just seemed like they're doing a bit more thorough testing this time, though, than they did in the 8.1 days. When I originally launched Flickr Upload, they did a lot of testing, and that caused me a lot of hassle because the testers didn't really understand the concept of Flickr, so that was difficult. Then the 8.1 days, they just seemed to pass things straight through, and now they seem to have gone back the other way now, where they're actually doing more testing.
Yeah, I think it's actually a happy medium at the moment. It's a good balance.
So we'll see. We might get through. We might not. We never know. And if it does get through, I'll drop a link in the show notes or put it on the diesellifestyle.com. I also have loads of problems with background activity tasks. Maybe I'll have to ask you offline about that, Gary.
That's fine anyway.
Because that's changed, hasn't it, in Windows 10? You can run background tasks without being a pinned app now.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, so it was interesting though doing UWP, and of course I haven't tested it on the Xbox, but it should work on the Xbox and it should work on HoloLens as well. Maybe I'll have to get HoloLens just to try it.
Yeah, I think that's a very good excuse to have.
So to do that. Now, how about some Windows Media Center news?
What?
I was just going to say, I was just waiting for you to bring up the Windows Media Center news.
Yeah. So we do like having Windows Media Center news, and to prove that. The Media Center still is very viable and still people using it. It's one of the highest rated articles from the last couple of days. But a developer, Pete Lauro, has created a new tool for bringing WTV file data into Plex, MB, and Kodi.
Oh, yes, I saw that. Very impressive.
Now, there's a few tools already available, but according to Peter, and I was chatting to him, he said that a lot of these use TV services, I can't remember which one you mentioned now, but basically sites that provide TV metadata. And while that works for a lot of things, it doesn't work for some things like Champion League soccer and some other things with restricted rights, whereas the actual metadata is in the WTV file. So his tool extracts that metadata from the WTV file and creates a Kodi-friendly file format, which both Plex and MB can import. So it works with those as well. So it's a really nice little tool. He said it's his first sort of Windows Media Center first tool that he's been working on. So he's done some good work in there, and he's got a nice detailed blog post on it's mpcdigitize.com with all the details in it. A nice post that explains how it all works, and you can see the the metadata, how it brings it in. But if you're still using Media Center and you want to bring your data over, then this is definitely a good tool to have, even if you do it as a one-time conversion, or if you're running it all the time to keep systems in sync. Nice to see Media Center add in as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Really nice.
Yeah, well, it just shows you there's still a lot of people using it. What else did I mention? Yeah, so another review that I've been testing. Did I mention last week that I've been testing the D-Link home smart plug?
You mentioned it, yeah.
Yeah. So I've got the review posted of that now, and I've got a few of these set up now, so we're all ready for when I put my Christmas lights on. Really interesting little devices. You can plug them in, they get put them on your Wi-Fi, use WPS, and you get through the app, and then you can control them through the app. And I think that's what he said last week, but you can see what current they're drawing, what wattage, and you can put a price to that power. So you can see the cost of the device, especially handy if you're using it, you've got a storage heater or something like that. You can see what it's costing you, and you can even put thresholds, say, this is my budget, and turn it off when it gets to the budget. You can see heat usage as well, what current it's drawing, and you can create some very advanced schedules and things like that. So really nice little devices. Also works with if then that. So you can control it through that, and I managed to make some URLs using the Maker app. So you can't natively from Windows work with if then that, or with the D-Link software. There's no app for Windows. You can create effectively a secret URL. If you gave the URL, it was it's not encrypted, anything like that. So if you gave it out, people would have access to it. But it's only triggering your light, so it's not too bad. But you can create these with the Maker add-in, and then you can call them from Windows.
Yeah.
So I've actually managed to create an app, and I'm hoping to get this to work on the Raspberry Pi, where you can have a button, a hard, physical button that goes out to the Maker URL and then switches the lights on and off. Because one thing I couldn't find a way of doing with if then that is to switch all three lights on at the same time. There isn't that option. But of course, by creating a URL for each light and then just have the program to trigger all three, you can sync them up and things like that. So I'm hoping to do a bit of work with that and put a Raspberry Pi without a display, just with the two push switches on and off to switch all the lights on, all the lights off, something like that. So
that'd be kind of cool. Well, the other thing, of course, is if you've got the Maker channel, you can use an Amazon Echo to control it as well. Because although for some unearthly reason, if this and that is not supported on the UK Echoes, which is really annoying, it is supported on the American ones. There is a skill you can use which will actually talk to the Maker channel.
Ah, right. That was going to be a fact. I was talking to Richard about it this afternoon because I wanted to see whether I could set an Echo up to control all the lights on in one go, but I couldn't find whether the D-Link plug is supported. I did find a blog post saying it was supported, but I'm not sure it actually is supported when I went through Amazon's site. So
you have to watch. A lot of stuff's not supported in the UK, which is supported in the States.
Yeah. But yeah, so if the Echo can call, so it can just go to call out to a URL, can it?
Yes. Yeah. Well, it can call. It uses the Maker channel. There's actually a Maker skill which you can then tell it what URL to use.
Right, and that works in the UK version.
Yeah, it does.
Oh, well,
there are other ways of doing this as well. There's So I've been playing quite a bit with Echo the last couple of weeks. I'm writing a feature, fascinating take on it. And one of the things that I've been doing is to try and control domotics with it. So my house control system is domotics, and that's actually quite tricky to do because there isn't a domotics channel or anything like that. But what I found is that there's a really nice thing called HA Bridge, which is a home automation bridge piece of software, which emulates the Philips Hue bridge.
Right.
And fools any automation system, and just how it happens that Amazon Alexa's one of them, into thinking that it's got a Hue system on the network, where you can then program that to actually send any HTTP command out.
Right. So yeah, it thinks it's working with Hue, but you can use it with whatever you want.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So you can use that to control domotics or something, or some other software like that, which can then send out other controls. So I've got it so now we'll control the lights in here using that system. It's a bit clunky, and I want to do something better, but it does work. And that software runs on Windows. Basically, that software's Java space. It will run on Windows or run on a Pi.
Right. Oh, interesting. I might have a go at that. I quite like these smart plugs. So I say I'm going to have my lights control Christmas lights, but even once I finish with them, I'll use them to control the lights. Plug-in lights around the home with them. It's a nice little solution, the D-Link one. I know there's quite a few different ones out, but yeah, quite nice. And with it supporting IFTT, then it opens it up real.
Yeah, and hopefully IFTT will come on Alexa in the UK fairly shortly.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah. I like the idea of being able to switch things on and off from a phone, but if you're not there with the phone, then having a physical button is a nice little trick if you can do it with the Raspberry Pi.
Yeah. Probably by the time this goes out, this deal will be gone. But at the moment, you can pick up an Amazon Echo Dot for £40.
Yeah.
With the Cyber Week. Which is a pretty amazing bargain.
Yeah, I might see if I can get that working. Now, one other thing, I say there's not a huge amount of news this week, but we are getting towards the end of the year, so I did want to bring back the TDL Awards.
Yay!
So I've had some nominations already for various Windows devices, so I really wanted to know your favorite Windows device and favorite maybe smartphone and maybe favorite service or favorite gadgets or something like that. But Windows device is the one that will be the Readers Awards. So if any listeners could send me those in, that would be much appreciated. Just let me know what your favorite Windows device is of 2016, and I'll put that into some kind of vote, and then we'll have the vote up and get that done before the end of the year. But also for you, Jason, Gary, I want you to have a think about what your sort of favourite devices have been of this year. There's been not as much Microsoft stuff, but there's been some expensive Microsoft stuff. But what you think has been on the market, and what personally have you used or bought that you want to talk about? I'm excluding the iPhone for you, Jason.
Yeah.
I suspect that will be your favourite device of the year. I know what now you're such an iPhone fanatic.
Absolutely, yes, yeah.
So I'll be interested to get your opinions on that, and then we'll talk about those maybe just after Christmas.
Excellent idea.
Because we'll have our Christmas show the week before Christmas. Yeah, the Tuesday before Christmas we'll record our Christmas show. May bring the quiz back. I'll have to kind of try and think of some questions. So if any listeners have got any ideas or suggestions for how I can test Gary and Jason's knowledge, then that would be.
Just don't ask me questions about Glasgow because I wasn't very good at them.
And I won't ask Richard because he spent all that time in the whiskey distillery. I won't ask you about the number of builds either, Gary.
No, that's definitely.
That's still my favourite quiz we've done, build or no build.
That was quite good, that build number quiz. Okay. Maybe we should ask you questions.
Yeah, it's not as much fun, mate. It's more fun me putting you two to the test. So I think that's all the news we've got this week. It's actually been quite quiet because I think it's holidays season in America. I am going to be collating together some our reviews of 2016 and getting them into some guides of some gifts. I've got another Wi-Fi extender review to come up. I posted the Pix one I think last week, which is a little cheap Wi-Fi extender that's quite good, and I've got the other extreme. I've got a Netgear Nighthawk extender, which is a much more expensive one, but a big range as well to cover. So I'll get those posted up as well. So, what's happening over on Fascinating Tech?
So we've got the autumn issue up there, and actually, I just want to say congratulations to Holiday Boy, who I know often joins us on the chat room because he was the winner of our competition this month.
Oh, congratulations to him!
Yeah, congratulations.
So he's got his prizes and making good use of them. So he's got a couple of interesting little projects and magics, including a nice video editing. And he says he's got loads of videos to edit, so it'll be interesting to see how he gets on with those. So we're getting ready for our Christmas gift guide. Richard's actually going to join the Fascinating Tech team and write a few reviews for us as well. So I don't know how he's going to get time to do it. Well, all the ones he's writing for Digital Lifestyle, but I'm sure he's doing a brilliant job. Good to have spare time. So feature pack issue next month. We're testing all sorts of things, but the cover story is all about alcohol testers, which you probably could have done with at the weekend.
Yeah, and not to be used to decide whether you want to drive or not.
Our recommendation is always don't drink and don't drive. Well, don't drink and don't drive, but just don't.
If the answer is don't.
Yeah.
So, Jason, what have we got over? What are you up to at the moment?
Not much. I think my Twitter feed's quite quiet at the moment. I'm too busy.
Yeah, no rants.
Yes. So yeah, you can find me on Twitter at DatabaseJace.
Brilliant.
Excellent stuff. No new toys to talk about yet?
No, nothing yet.
Still busy playing with the iPhone. Yeah, no Mac either.
No Black Friday deals. Did anybody pick anything decent up on Black Friday? I must admit, I did pick up a few Amazon Dots because I thought they were just too good to miss up at that price.
Yeah, I'm tempted. I just can't decide what would really use it for. But I am awfully tempted to pick one up. I just can't decide because we've got the Sonos speakers, but obviously you can't plug the Alexa, the Amazon Dot into a Sonos speaker.
The Sonos got Bluetooth in, but I've not.
No, it's got
DLNA. It's all proprietary. The only exception is the Play 5 has got a 3.5mm input, but as I said before, I bought a Play 3 and kind of regret it because the Play 1s are so powerful and the music's so good. I mean, I'm sure audiophiles would prefer a Play 3 or a Play 5, but for us in the house, the Play 1 is absolutely fine. So a Play 5 would just be completely over the top. But yeah, I think it's the one criticism people do level at the Sonos system, that it is completely proprietary.
I think when I was going on the Echo and Dot site today, it did mention that Sonos coming soon.
I think that's going to be the Sonos Direct,
right,
which is being built into the Spotify. So yeah, then it may well become more useful. But yeah, I mean, I'm especially watching Mr. Robot. Alexa featured quite heavily in Mr. Robot season 2. So yeah, and I was tempted, but I mean, there were some good deals on game consoles, but we kind of bought the kids their Xbox last year, partly wishing I'd maybe
good deals on the Xbox XS, One S. The £200 with Minecraft and whatever it was.
Yes,
it's a driving game.
I did and ah about buying one, but then I thought, well, no, because then we're just going to end up have to sell the existing Xboxes that we've got, and that's just going to end up costing money rather than for no real gain. So I'll be interested to see what happens when Project Scorpio comes out, which I still think should be branded the Xbox One Elite. Because I think people are used to the Elite Xbox brand being that premium device, so I think it would make sense.
Yeah. Actually, just a quick aside before we go, the Xbox One S, one of my big criticisms of it was the audio output. And I don't
they're changing that. So they haven't said that the future. I don't think it's in what they're calling is it the holiday update? I think they've decided to call it. I'm not sure it's in there, but it is supposed to. They are going to add Dolby Atmos support.
Yeah, which would be great. And I think that would actually be that would probably, once that's in there, I might well be tempted to have that as a 4K player.
Because I know Josh Pollard had a good explanation as to why it's kind of not in there at the moment, and it's purely about they inject sound into the audio stream. So when you get an achievement, so when you're watching a video or whatever it might be, they inject that sound into the audio stream of the game or whatever activity you might be doing. Whereas if you're using kind of Dolby Atmos, I think it has similar protection, doesn't it, to HDCP?
Yes.
Right.
Which means that they can't obviously inject that audio stream. So I think it's been quite a technical feat for them to overcome.
Yeah, and I get the impression they've been working quite closely with Dolby on it, so hopefully it's good.
Yeah, I mean it's certainly a great price, especially that deal for if you've not got an Xbox, and even if you just want a 4K player, then it's a great price for that.
Yeah, that's also another reason for me not buying an Xbox One S, because at the moment we don't have a 4K telly.
Yeah, I'm the same. Yeah,
I'm
quite happy with my TV.
Yeah, I have a feeling one leads to another. So
yeah, it's the tech cycle. It continues going on forever, doesn't it?
Yes.
Which is why we like these things. But yeah, I don't need a new TV. I like my TV, so I don't want to change anything with it yet.
Yes.
Although I did notice that Sky is saying that the F1's in Ultra HD next year.
Oh yeah.
But I'm not buying a new TV.
At the moment, we're still using our Panasonic Plasma for heating the living room. So
I use my Samsung one for doing exactly the same.
Yeah, we need it with the temperatures outside at the moment.
Yeah,
so there's a few things you can put a fake fireplace on and actually get the heat off of it.
Yes.
Well, hopefully next week we'll have a build to talk about. I've got a feeling we'll get a build this week. I think Donna.
If not, I would suspect we may get more than one build this week.
yeah, we've not had a phone build for a little bit either. So let's we get a PC and a phone build with new UI in there.
They had a bit of a 950 XL fire sale, didn't they, with the Black Friday deals?
Oh yeah,
and I think they've sold out.
289 or something, I think.
Yeah. Still not persuaded, Jason?
No.
The shipper sales.
Yeah.
Well, I think it was definitely a good deal because it came with the display dock as well, didn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
So when you were considering that MacBook Pro, you might have bought one just for the display dock.
Yeah. Charge your MacBook Pro with a display dock and phone. Yeah, probably the same price as a few Apple dongles anyway. You get a free phone. Anyway, so we're back next week with new builds to talk about, new reviews. I'm sure Richard can have a few reviews out by then. I've got a couple in the video camera still to be edited, which seems to be the most difficult thing to find the time to do. But we'll be back next Tuesday evening, 9 p.m. UK time, chat room. The live stream seems to hold up not too bad, so maybe we'll use this again next week. Anyway, till next week, thanks Gary and thanks Jason.
Yep, cheers.
Okay. And thanks Richard.
Yes, thanks Richard. And I think we need to get Richard back on, so we'll sort that out as well. And we've got Plex coming up in a couple of weeks as well.
Brilliant.
Okay, see you then.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.